It is a new day in New York City. Take a look. You see, that was a construction site in New York City, Midtown Manhattan. Local workers there greeting Trump as warmly as anyone could ever want to be greeted, delivering a very special message, by the way, to Joe Biden with their own version of, how should I put this? Let's go, Brandon. This was before another mandatory appearance in court for Donald Trump. It'll go on for weeks and weeks. They have taken him off the campaign trail. A pro-Biden judge censoring Trump's speech with an unprecedented gag order prevented the Republican candidate for president from campaigning in the middle of this election. Of course, he donated in 2020 to Joe Biden. Issues about conflicts, issues about, oh, that's right, statute of limitations, issues about the whole felony federal crime that they're trying to make out of thin air. But nothing is stopping Donald Trump from speaking to you directly, the American people. Take a look.
We're very close in New York, I understand, and we're leading in the country by a lot. Poll just came out a little while ago, as you saw yesterday, that we're up in every swing state and up by a lot in every swing state. So I think we're going to do very well, and we're going to make a play for New York. They said, I just heard there was a very good poll came out. Normally, a Democrat will win New York. Biden is the worst president in history, and we have some very bad people here, but we have the greatest people, and they're right behind me. And they all want us to run, and we're gonna run very hard in New York. New York, we have a good chance of winning New York, in my opinion, but we're going to give it a shot.
All right, Trump then headed to court in Lower Manhattan for a case that even a New York Times op-ed referred to as a legal embarrassment and a historic mistake. 230 miles to the south in the Washington swamp. Well, important, very important oral arguments today at the U.S. Supreme Court on presidential immunity. A decision here will not only have an immediate impact on the weaponized DOJ quest to prosecute Trump from now until Election Day in 193 days, but it will have lasting ramifications, or as Neil Gorsuch, as the justice put it, we are writing a rule for the ages. The question at hand, can a U.S. president be prosecuted for his actions in office? Is there absolute immunity? Is there limited immunity? Can Obama be charged, for example, for killing Americans in a drone strike, which happened overseas? Can George W. Bush be charged with allegedly lying to Congress about Iraq if a far-left prosecutor decides to cook up charges? And can Joe Biden be charged for killing a family in Afghanistan during his deadly withdrawal? Now, here's how Trump's legal team put it earlier today. Listen.
The implications of the court's decision here extend far beyond the facts of this case. Could President George W. Bush have been sent to prison for obstructing an official proceeding or allegedly lying to Congress to induce war in Iraq? Could President Obama be charged with murder for killing U.S. citizens abroad by drone strike?
All right. Ultimately, the constitutional judges on the court seem to favor limited immunity over absolute immunity. But in other words, that would be a huge win for Donald Trump. Official acts carried out by a president would be immune from prosecution. However, a president could still be charged for personal acts like taking bribes. Oh, maybe from like the former First Lady of Moscow. That's right, the Russian oligarch that Joe had dinner with at Cafe Milano. Take a listen.
If an incumbent who loses a very close, hotly contested election knows that a real possibility after leaving office is not that the president is going to be able to go off into a peaceful retirement, but that the president may be criminally prosecuted by a bitter political opponent, will that not lead us into a cycle that destabilizes the functioning of our country as a democracy?
Did you agree that there are some core functions of the executive that president conduct that Congress cannot criminalize?
Yes.
Is that a form? I mean, we can call it immunity, or you can call it they can't do it, but what's the difference?
Does the president have immunity, or are you saying that there's no immunity, presidential immunity, even for official acts?
Yes, Justice Thomas.
So do you really want your president thinking, any president at any time, thinking about his own personal legal exposure on every official decision that they make? Most presidents, especially ones without any moral courage, like we're witnessing with Joe Biden and Israel, they would be utterly paralyzed, which he kind of is. But naturally, the left-wing justices who are probably eager to see Trump behind bars, well, they propose this obscene hypothetical scenario, which, by the way, is not what people have been talking about in reality. That's not what the discussion is, but they throw it out as a nice red herring anyway. Listen.
If the president decides that his rival is a corrupt person and he orders the military or orders someone to assassinate him, is that within his official acts for which he can get immunity?
It would depend on the hypothetical, but we can see that could well be an official act.
It could, and why? Because he's doing it for personal reasons.
Now, under limited immunity, a president would still be charged for committing that illegal act because of the personal benefits. Now, this leaves us with three main questions tonight. What will the justices ultimately decide? When will they make their decision? And will it completely upend, I think it will, the weaponized DOJ charges against Donald Trump? Will they remand it back to a lower court? Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett, Alan Dershowitz will weigh in straight ahead. But first, more disruptive, hate-filled protests today, more clashes with police, and some universities now have thankfully restored order, like the University of Texas. They issued a very clear directive. Our university will not be occupied. Well, good for them. Other schools, they refuse to enforce their own rules and keep their students safe as they let far-left professors, students, and outside agitators continue to upend life for all students. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.